Good morning, friends. As I have mentioned on my community tab, I had some off-camera projects that I was doing, but now I want to do an on-camera project for which I need every single one of my fiber tools, but not all of them are ready to go. So in order to motivate myself to get this off-camera project done on camera, I asked you guys some questions. So we are going to do a very cozy sit and spin, and I will answer all of your burning questions. I've got my jar of your questions. I've got a nice cup of tea, and I have got the fluff that we are going to spin. It's a scrap bat, of course, because what else would I be spinning? Seems like I'm only doing this, but on Jillian. I already have one bobbin finished. We're going to do the second one and then apply them together. And I'll answer your questions. As I said, why am I repeating this? I don't know. My brain tells me to do this. Okay, so now that we are well underway with our spinning, let's see what the first question is. What do you do as a day job? I actually got this question multiple times. Now, I will not say specifically what my day job is, because people that do not mean as well as you do might find me and dox me. But I will say I work as a communications specialist in the non-profit or social profit sector. I hope this satisfies your curiosity. What other hobbies do you have besides spinning, knitting, weaving, and being awesome? Well, first off, I wouldn't say being awesome is a hobby of mine. A hobby is something that you do on the side. I am not just awesome on the side, I'm always awesome. No, but for this question, actually the answer is behind you guys. So I'm just going to turn the camera around for a second. Behold the tools of my other craft. Yeah, I also try to be a visual artist. So both drawing and painting are arts that I practice in. I go to art school on Fridays and Saturdays. And besides that, I also really enjoy reading. And I don't know whether you would call this a hobby, but I also really enjoy content creation. So like the editing of these videos also bring me lots of joy. My husband and I also have a second YouTube channel called The History Hikers, from which you can also derive some of the hobbies and interests that I have, which is history and hiking. I'm just one big ol' nerd. What is your most favorite project you have done to date? And if different, what finished item do you like the most? I'll first answer the finished item because that's a little bit easier, I'd say. I am really, really proud of my second cycling sweater, because that was just a combination of both really nice fiber prep, really nice spinning and knitting, and just the overall aesthetics of it are, yeah, that really hits the spot of a random ass Victorian in the 21st century. I also like the sweater that I'm wearing right now. Not so much the yarn that I spun, because as you saw, actually I spun it for another sweater, then frogged it, re-dyed it, and then knit this marzipan sweater. But I do get a lot of comments when I'm wearing this. It is also a very soft and comfortable sweater to wear, so I do grab for it a lot. But then the entire project, which project was my favorite? I think I will say, and that then my answer is not so different, but the spinning for the Tour de Fleece, I learned a lot from that, like spinning every day, spinning so consistent as I have. I think that was the first time that my spinning was this consistent, because maybe sometimes you forget and I forget it as well. I do not spin very long yet. Yeah, so like the hundreds of meters of yarn that I spun during Tour de Fleece, I think I can safely say that that was my favorite project. Also because the fleece, when I started out, was super dirty. For a moment I thought I wasn't able to salvage it, that the yarn I was going to get from it was not going to be very nice, but then it turned out to be such luxurious and luscious yarn. That was a very satisfying project. When did you lay eyes upon a spinning wheel and know in your soul that this is your passion? Well, actually, it was the other way around. I was working with natural dyeing and fiber arts years. Or well, the fiber arts, not the dyeing, before I got a spinning wheel. And I actually got a spinning wheel because I am a renowned cheapskate and I didn't want to pay for international shipping. So then I went onto Facebook Marketplace and got myself a wheel because I was like, I can do this. And I think that in my soul I knew I could do this, that this was my passion, that this was something I was meant to do. I have this very weird memory, and it has been recurring ever since I started spinning and started working with actual raw wool, of a field excursion trip when in primary school. I was 9, 10, 11 maybe, and we went to the textile museum, and I remember that I wanted to touch everything in that museum. Like the fact that you couldn't touch those exhibits, that was torture. How so? Why cannot not weave on this huge loom that is 5 times bigger than I was back then? Why could I not touch the samples of wool and cotton, and why could I not like get into the exhibit with the dolls behind a spinning wheel and just sit and do that? That was a memory that I've kind of forgotten about until I started working with wool myself, and I was like, I just knew. I was not even a teenager and I just knew. So there was this primal instinct already, like years before I even touched the spinning wheel. When did you realize you were in love with wool? Was it a progressive love or instantaneous? Well, great that we got those two questions in a row, because they kind of relate to one another. The love for wool, I think, was always there, but my brain had to connect. I always had a love for fiber arts. As I mentioned in a previous video, I have been knitting since I was 6 and crocheting since I was 10. Just like my grandmother did, I got my yarns from the discount store and they were acrylic mostly. So I just really loved making stuff, making my own clothing. And then when I got my spinning wheel, and then I went to my farmer, not a kilometer from here, got my first fleece, that was like instantaneous love. Just the feeling of that raw wool in my hands, there is nothing that compares to it. When I'm feeling overwhelmed or sad or depressed, when my brain is playing tricks with me, sometimes I just have to put my hand in a bag of raw wool, and that just helps, just the feeling of wool. And when I need like extra motivation to get through the week or get through the day, when I'm really stressed out or when something has happened, I put on all the wool that I can. Put, like, I've got some wool t-shirts as well. I will put them even underneath my sweater to be entirely enveloped in wool, and it just helps my mental health so much. And that is why I do call myself a wool snob on this channel every now and then. I don't have that same connection anymore with the acrylic yarns. I mean, I still have got some sweaters that I made with acrylic, but I don't reach for them as much. They don't give me the same feeling, the same, well, both physical and emotional warmth that the wool sweaters do. What's the color of dye you'd most love to achieve? Well, For a long time, it was blue, but I have achieved it recently. I got a 123 indigo kit by Meaningful Crafts Meerwild. I was going to make a video of me testing out that kit, but there were some technical difficulties. But there were some technical difficulties, and eventually the footage had no audio. So I couldn't use it, or well, not for the video I was planning to make. I will probably still use it when I use the fiber for a project. But blue was like something unattainable from the dye stuff that I had in my garden, so I really wanted to get blue. I don't know what is now a gold color though. Now that I've gotten blue, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, dark green. I would like to make like a cool forest green color. I might play around with that because I brought a lot of my clothes to the second-hand store a couple of months ago, and I forgot that I put one of my green sweaters in there as well. So a couple of months ago I was looking for my dark green sweater, and then I was like, oh yeah, I gave that away, damn it. So now I need a new dark green sweater. So I think dark green is one of the colors that I'll try and dye in the near future. What's your dream spinning/knitting project? Is there a pattern you dream about spinning for but haven't done yet? I wouldn't say a specific project, like I cannot link you a Ravelry page to a specific project, but a thing that I would really want to spin for and then knit is like a really colorful Fair Isle sweater, like at least 6 colors or something, and then also with very fine needles, so like a vintage Fair Isle sweater or something. That's a project I really want to make. I want to spin for. Oh my, I'm saying so much really today. What's the most impractical thing people knit that you just don't get? Lately I've seen people make, and maybe I've seen it more in crochet than in knitting, but that's just the same right now in this question. Are the sleeves without the sweater, so just sleeves, a neckband, and that's it. Why? Like, okay, maybe I get the why. It's to have something on your arms for those chilly summer evenings, but then just knit a cardigan, right? Your body will get cold on chilly summer evenings as well. Nope, a no for me. Oh, on a previous question on my other hobbies, I also really like thrifting and going to flea markets. This is a Arcopal Lotus cup, and I am in the process of collecting everything there is from this range, because this is peak vintage to me. My grandmom had this set and I want it as well. Which type of fiber prep do you like spinning best? Combed. I am right now spinning a carded bed from leftovers, and while I like the idea of doing this, the spinning itself is much more nicer when it's combed fiber. What or who got you into spinning? Natural dyeing. And if you want to know who, then it's the Cabin Boy Knits channel. I have a completely separate video about this, so check that out if you want an entire video just on how I got into spinning and how I got my spinning wheels and everything. But the short answer is I fell off my bike and was at home for 4 months. I got into YouTube, started watching Cabin Boy Knits, saw natural dyeing, was intrigued, didn't want to pay for shipping for undyed wool, thought I can do this myself, bought a spinning wheel on Facebook Marketplace, and the rest of this is history. What is your dream fleece to spin? Now, I guess that there are two answers to this. First, I think it would be really cool to spin like a Shetland or an Icelandic fleece. That's a thing I want to do. But now I'm going to move you again and I'm going away from my spinning wheel. Why are you always asking me questions where I'm not going to spin, where I want to move stuff? Hello, welcome to the backside of my studio. This is my fiber stash, and in this here box we find a fleece that I've got actually no clue what sheep this is. But this fleece is so incredibly soft and has such beautiful fine crimp. I want to spin it. This might very well be my Tour de Fleece project for this year. Yeah. I'm so excited about this fleece. I've got it from a fellow spinner who was also just a beginner and had just assembled an entire garage of fleeces and then found she could not process them herself, so she gave them to me. I literally dream about this specific fleece, even though I don't know what it is, but that's my chaos brain for you. What do you think about the trend of knit lingerie? Well, you do you, is what I think. If you want knit lingerie, all the power to you. But personally, I have mentioned before that I have very ample protective fatty tissue on the chest area. Nah, you're not going to tell me these yarns are going to support my bobbins. I'm not going to make it. I would feel so uncomfortable. I need the support of underwires and very, very sturdy bands. I don't know the terms. Favorite cake? Love this question. Now, I live in an area where pies and cakes are actually cultural heritage. So I sort of feel obliged to tell you that my favorite cake or my favorite pie is knoepelkesvlaai. And it is certainly one of my favorites. Nigella has made it recently and it has made like an entire outburst. Oh no, this is our heritage! You stay with your paws of our knoepelkesvlaai! But personally, if you give me what we call spintaart, oh, I cannot keep my hands off from it, even though I am lactose intolerant. Is buying knitted clothing okay for you? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't it? I don't think that you should, because you knit, that you should have to knit all the things you want to wear yourself. Because that's just not sustainable. I mean, for yourself, especially if you also want to spin the fiber to then knit the garments, like in your lifetime, you wouldn't have enough clothes to go around. I mean, yes, you would in a lifetime. Yeah, of course it's okay to buy knit garments. If you could have a herd of fiber animals of your own, which would it be? Sheep. There's no question. Right now I would even say Flemish sheep, because I think keeping alive the heritage of the Flemish sheep is really important. What do you do to avoid wrist pain? Good question. Nothing. Just stop in time. This is an interesting one. I almost thought of not including it, but if you want to talk about it, what are your general political views? You have mentioned flipping of the patriarchy. Are there any other political stances you hold dear? So yeah, I thought about not including this question in my jar, because every time I say something mildly political, or I don't know, anything that makes someone realize that I do not hold traditional right-wing views, even though I dress traditional and I have traditional hobbies, then they unsubscribe. And if that is something that makes you unsubscribe, then I will say bye Felicia. Actually, good riddance. Because I am not a conservative right-wing person. On the contrary. I would say maybe that I am like a green socialist. I believe in equity, in degrowth, that capitalism is not the system in which we should live. I mean, I am pro the idea of a free market, but endless growth is destroying our society and destroying our environment and destroying our planet. So no, I also try to be actually anti-racist and to be an ally for people with different sexualities or gender identities. I want also this channel to be a safe space for people. Other YouTubers you're connected to. Ooh, I like this because I've got lots of recommendations for you guys. There are lots of YouTubers that I have made what I think a personal connection to, probably a parasocial connection as well. First one is the big one you already know, is Evie from the Culinary Fiber Arts. I can really recommend her channel to you if you want to learn how to spin and really get some technical information about spinning and spinning wheels and fiber, which I cannot give you because my channel is just chaos and shenanigans. So if you want structured but also really funny videos that actually teach you stuff, I can recommend her. She's a really beautiful and nice person as well. And on the topic of beautiful and nice persons, I have very much connected with Tashi of Stitches and Starlight. She is the Chaos Gremlin to my Chaos Goblin. She's actually a rad human. So go and check out her podcast too. I think she's really funny and her knowledge on spinning is so expansive, I'm actually jealous of it. Another YouTuber I have personally connected to is Christine Wieke or Christine Wiek. I don't speak Norwegian, I'm very sorry. I really like her videos on her historical costumes, her historical projects. And she's a really big inspiration to me as well, like videography and photography wise. Her videos are so beautiful and well put together, and she is another beautiful person both inside and outside. Another YouTuber, she's a very small YouTuber. I think she's not yet at the 500 subscriber threshold, but she's a really lovely human to talk to as well, is Amber from a Foxgloves Handiwork. If you like the chaos beginner vibe you get from my videos, I think you will enjoy hers as well. I'm almost forgetting one. She's the #1 reason I got into weaving, is Andrea Alexander. She is awesome. And her weaving projects are awesome. Her vlogs on her student life are awesome. Make me very jealous that I am not a student at FIT. She's also a really, really lovely person. And actually the one that connected me to the other YouTubers. So, whew, did I almost forget her? That's a shame. YouTube life balance, question mark. Well, putting out one video a week is indeed quite stressful sometimes. I have like devised a schedule with color codes in which I... How do I say this? Okay, some videos have a red color because they ask a lot of work and prep and they take a lot of time. And I try to keep an eye on my schedule that there is not too much of these red videos in there, but that they get interspersed with blue, which is no work, or green, which is like one day work videos, so that I can make it manageable for myself. Because before I did this, there was a point, I think around September, October, where I had too much big project videos on my plate, and I was really stressed out. And I was like, no, I don't want to be stressed because of my YouTube channel. I want this YouTube channel to be fun and to actually give me... God damn it, this is why I'm not doing this as a live stream. Give me validation there. So stress is not a part of that. So that's how I came up with that schedule. And now that I am working with that schedule, it's really helping me to have a very good YouTube/life balance. Second to last question, guys. A knitting technique you haven't mastered yet. There are multiple actually. The first one I'm thinking of is brioche knitting, and then two-color brioche knitting. I haven't done that yet. Something I want to try though in the near future. Short rows. I struggle with short rows. Double knitting is also a thing I haven't mastered yet or tried yet actually. So there probably are quite a lot more techniques that I haven't tried or haven't mastered, just because I have never encountered them in a pattern or in something that I wanted to make. Final question, you guys. What's the weirdest thing you'd knit? The weirdest thing that I would knit, or that I have knit. I don't know what the question is actually. The weirdest thing that I have knit you saw a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week. Anyway, it's a frog. That's the weirdest thing I have knit up until now. Although it all depends on your definition of weird, of course, because some people might find my Victorian gloves made out of dog fur also pretty weird. I'm mostly a garment knitter, so I don't think about knitting weird things. Oh my god, this is such a unsatisfying answer for the last question. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, wait. It's not a story about me, but it's a story about my aunt who once... I don't know if YouTube's going to have me have a strike on this, community guideline strike, but my aunt once made as a New Year's gift, she made lullovertjes. The Dutch people are already sniggering, I hope. But these are pullovers for your male organ. I would never knit it, but my brain just gave me the memory and I thought you might like. So friends, it is a next day and we have finished spinning and plying this yarn. Well, of course, this yarn wasn't the main objective of this video. The main objective actually just was talking to you guys and get my bobbins empty. And I think we should do this more often. Just you and I, having a cozy one-on-one chat. What do you think? When I was filming this video, where I was answering all your questions, and even after the filming of it, there were still some questions coming in on my Instagram and on my YouTube community page. So I wasn't able to answer them in the framework of this video, but maybe I'll just throw in a question every now and then when I'm spinning and don't have anything else to say. Or maybe I'll save them up for Tour de Fleece. That could also be a great way to cover a question each day. If you have more questions, feel free to still ask them. Because Tour de Fleece is 3 weeks, need a lot of questions for that. I might have gone a little bit overboard with this skein. It's 450 meters long. I don't even know if I can twist it. Get in there! 450 meters of this fingering weight yarn. YouTube should put a 18+ warning on this video because this is true yarn porn. Now let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. If you agree or strongly disagree with any of my answers from the Q&A. If you want to do this again. If you never want to do this again. I just want to know your opinion. Or if you have any more questions for a future video, put them down below as well. And then the only thing that rests for me to say is, if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, and maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. Bye! I should record more in the early morning. This is absolutely beautiful lighting. Bam, bam, spoo.